Welcome back, Uninformed Movie Lovers. It's another Uninformed Movie Reviews podcast, episode 67. 67. Is that sleigh bells I hear in the background? Maybe, because it's the Christmas episode, y'all. We have Movie Gift Exchange, Part 2. The sequel.
Wow. We actually brought something back, and it's going to work even better, because old Peen's gone. And the gruesome twosome's here.
The gruesome twosome remains supreme. The thirsty threesome will be whole again one day, but for now, the gruesome twosome.
I can't wait, and I can't wait till he acknowledges the thirsty threesome is superior.
TM, registered trademark, Uninformed Movie Reviews.
But before we get started, I would like to thank everyone for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Also for clicking that tiny little bell on YouTube so that every new video on every other Sunday pops up. Actually, no, every Sunday pops up in your feed. Also, check us out on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a 5-star review, or less, whatever you feel is cool. I've relinquished.
It just caught me off guard because usually I'm the one that accepts less. It feels like you got beaten down or something. You're like, you know what? Yeah, we'll take less.
That's happened a lot in my life.
Tis the season.
Tis the season to realize the futility of trying. That being said, give us a 5-star review. It helps us find a new audience and it recommends us higher up there. But also, thank you for listening. Check us out on Instagram at Uninformed Movie Reviews, where we post sweet content, at Twitter at UMR Podcast. And that being said, everyone, let's get going into the second annual movie gift exchange of UMR.
Yes, for those of you, many of you who weren't here last year when we did this, I gifted Danny a movie he had never seen before that I thought he would appreciate, and Danny did the same for me. Last year we thought ahead and planned ahead, so we filmed a little intro where we give each other the gifts, and then we got together and then talked about them. But we didn't do that intro part this year, so What are you gonna do?
What were the movies? Do you remember?
Last year?
Yeah.
I gave you Serenity, which meant that you also had to watch all of Firefly.
That's right.
And you were very upset.
I was very mad.
Yeah, I remember you not appreciating Firefly or Serenity.
I remember being like, okay, I can just watch Serenity, but then you're just like, actually, you need to watch Firefly. And I was like, you know what? I might have enjoyed it just better if I just watched Serenity, now that I think about it.
I love them both. It's like on the way over here, I was telling David what we was doing, and he was like, Danny's kind of hard to read sometimes. Like last year, I legitimately thought like cowboy space western. Yeah, Danny's going to love this. And you did not.
No.
Yeah.
But I mean, to the same effect, I love Cowboy Bebop, so
yeah, that's
which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah,
I mean, really weird, just done better.
And it's funny because I don't like Cowboy Bebop.
Tomato,
tomato, potato.
What did you give? You gave me that, and then what did I give you? Do you know?
No, I'm having trouble remembering because I don't know if you gifted David or if David.
I might have gifted David.
Yeah,
I think. Actually, I think I gave him Arrival.
You gave me Arrival.
I gave
That's
you
when
Arrival.
I watched Arrival, I think.
And that was your gift exchange?
I think so.
Okay, yeah.
It would have been smart to look this up before. But
whatever.
Uninformed movie reviews.
And unprepared.
Yes, this is what we do. This is what we do. Like, share, subscribe.
Don't you want to get more content? I love Arrival. And then you ended up digging it, yeah?
Oh, it's dope. It's fantastic. It's a great watch.
Yeah. Quite the inverse reaction to what you gave me.
Mm-hmm. I remember watching it being like, wow, I appreciate this movie so much. I can't wait to hear how Danny enjoyed his watch. And then you were like, I think I got like an angry text before we.
I mean, that's
like, oops.
More often than not, that's how you'll know I really didn't enjoy it because I won't even wait till the podcast.
You're like, no, I need to let him know right now how angry I am with him.
Hey, I'm tired and I'm watching this and you're a piece of shit. Fair. That being said,
this year I gave you New Police Story, a 2004 Jackie Chan classic. A gem from my childhood.
I'm just going to go out here and say it. Both of the titles of the movies that we gave each other, the second being revealed latter, they both suffer from unimaginable titles.
Super generic.
And if anything, they're like, if someone just told me to watch this movie, I'd be like, that sounds dumb because of the the name.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's a resurrection of a movie series called Police Story,
right,
which is also crazy generic.
Right.
So they doubled down on the generic titles and like, well, what do we call the new one? I got it.
I feel like because there might be a translation thing, this one gets a pass for that. You know what I mean?
Maybe.
Versus the other movie, which is just a straight up English movie. So, yeah. And then apparently this is Super Cop 5. I think so.
Kind of.
I've heard it's the fifth in the...
Because Super Cop, it doesn't get the title Super Cop until Police Story 2, if I'm not mistaken.
So the whole series changes then.
Yeah, the first one's just Police Story, and then
Police
Story and Police Story's 2, if I'm not mistaken, is Police Story 2 Super Cop.
The cop who can't be stopped.
The cop who can't be stopped.
Which I guess I have respect for, because it did a lot for Hong Kong cinema in my research, having watched this movie. I will say this was one of those moments where I did text Frank while I was watching it, and I said, "Are you sure it's 2004's A Police Story?"
I'm watching the right movie, right?
Because, well, first off, it was streaming on, which I got lucky about, like it's streaming on Pluto TV, so I just had to deal with a lot of ads. The movie is long on its own. I think the movie's like almost 2 hours.
2 hours and 3 minutes? Yeah, 123 minutes.
Yeah, so that's like something on its own, but like when you put 7 ads in between everything, I think it was like a 3-hour viewing experience for me.
Yeah, the ads did stretch out. I also watched it on Pluto TV, yeah. I was a little bit bummed they only had the English dub, but at least Jackie Chan does his own dub for it, so that kind of makes up for it a little bit.
I think that was one thing for me that was a little jarring, was just like, yeah, okay, we've got really, really bad cheesy dubs on everyone else, but Jackie Chan's doing his own, and it's just Jackie Chan.
One or two other actors were okay on their dub.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it was exactly what you'd expect from an English dub.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's what I was getting in the first scene, for sure. I was just like, and that's why I reached out. I was just like, this can't be the movie. Is this the movie?
Yeah.
But, so, all right, just flat out gut reaction. It is okay. I did not like it at first until they got to the warehouse scene.
Oh.
And then I was just like, okay, I can see where this is going. Okay, yeah, that's
started
brutal.
Gyrating your hips a little bit.
I was like, oh, that's brutal.
Yeah, dude.
I feel like there's a lot of cool action sequences in this movie, and I mean, it's Hong Kong cinema. There's a lot of good kung fu going on. There's a lot of good stunts, performed by Jackie Chan, and even some of the stunt guys did some amazing stuff. Particularly like the bus chase and all that stuff, and trying to think of some others. I mean, I'm gonna give this one an excuse for the time that it came out, for just having a very basic, generic plot. But I mean, it's the sign of the times. You know what I mean? This is like, it's almost like Saw-esque.
Yeah, I can see that a little bit.
Where maybe they were pulling a little bit of influence from like American cinema or something like that.
Yeah.
And then I was researching, compared to the rest of the police stories, this is like the darkest one. And I like that about this. I like that it is bleak for a lot of it. Like, I was just like, for a while after the warehouse scene, I was just like, God, can we give Jackie Chan a break? Like, can we?
You're gonna break him. It's funny because like, as an American movie watcher, you're used to Jackie Chan doing these like silly family movies. You know what I mean?
Muppet,
yeah, being essentially a Muppet. And it's funny, even during our rewatch, like in the warehouse scene, Grace was like, "Oh my God, this is more Saw than I thought it was gonna be."
That's hilarious. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, it made me laugh right now when you said that, because that's the thing I remember most about New Police Story is the just brutality and the bleakness in it. Like, just Jackie Chan lying in a pool of his own vomit.
Yes,
in an alley.
That's funny. I was just gonna say this. I was gonna say, like, I don't think I've ever seen Jackie Chan play disgustingly drunk,
except for The Drunken Master. But
but I mean, like in an American cinema movie. You know what I mean? But I mean, he is really good in this movie. Like, he has a lot of acting chops.
Yeah.
and he doesn't use it in American cinema because I don't think that's what American cinema wants to see from him.
No, he's silly martial arts guy in American
I don't
cinema,
want no
you know what
trouble.
I mean?
Proceeds to give trouble.
It's great. It's like in Rush Hour, you know what I mean? He enters in and the police commander's like, "Oh, you're giving me problems." But this is where he's actually like
He's
rogue
like, yeah.
detective, like got all his dudes killed. He's been drinking for a year.
Yeah.
It's oh man, it's so fun.
Yeah, that was an interesting thing. Like he was a cop that cared a lot.
Yeah.
And was like even like giving everyone in his squad like pointers and like telling them like, you know, you need to do this better. You need to do this better. He really cared about his entire squad.
Even like the little thing about putting a rock in your coat pocket so that you can draw faster with your gun. Yeah.
Yeah, that was
all
really,
those little details.
Really cool. Really, really cool. I think I honestly I don't like the opening scene at all. I feel like it was too, I don't know, it was kind of cheesy. It was just kind of cheesy.
Oh, it's super cheesy, especially with the dub. The I think the most cartoonish dub voice actor that they had was that financial guy, the
oh yeah,
the whole reason for the hostage situation.
Yeah.
You know, when he comes up, he's like, "Oh, call me if you want to make any investments," and then Jackie Chan punches him out.
like, do they not watch the movie as they're dubbing it and just like, you know, that kind of sounds cartoony. Can you just like give it a tone on this bleak story? You know, we've got the as soon as they introduce like the adrenaline junkie gang, I'm just like, they're gonna play like a generic and they're gonna do some stunt right now, and I know it. And then boom, rappel off the side of a building happens, and I'm just like, that's kind of cool. But then like you see like the effects have aged, whatever. But I thought it was really cool. There's definitely moments where they're doing it in some scalable sense, maybe like with a model or what have you, but it does look good. And there was some really cool things like his assistant does with like putting a pipe in between the like tying
using the pipe to rappel down.
Like for the
or the Jackie
friction.
Chan, the way Jackie Chan does it with the cuffs.
I was
really
like, Jackie, that's dumb. I was like, you're gonna. In reality, you probably would have cut through your fingers and you just fall down.
And it's funny because he gets to the bottom and he does like the Jackie Chan comedic. Oh, hot.
It's like, oh my god,
I love it. Man.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the vibe of an '80s action movie, but it came out in 2004, and I think that's something really special.
And you also get that like the grind era in it without it actually being gross. I mean, the adrenaline junkies, I mean, that was kind of cool. They were kind of like basically nihilists and
F you, we are nihilists.
yeah, and you get to realize that they're all just like overprivileged assholes who just are bored and like to mess with cops. And I was just like,
where if it was like 2022, they would just be like TikTok content creators or something.
Yeah, cringe masters or something like that. Or they'd probably be like militia dudes or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'd be gravy seals. Which the half pipe scene on the rooftop.
Yeah, dude.
Jesus Christ. And the bike.
I love it. Yeah, just flying through the air on a BMX bike, capping a
that one girl's like
department.
standing into the crowd. She's just like, chosen one. Chosen one. I also love when she's like dying on the couch and he's just like looking at her and he's like, I love you. And she's just like, chosen one. And then he shoots her in the gut. Oh, it's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, there was... All right, let's just put it out there. Rewatch value for me is going to be a no dog because I probably will never... I don't have an interest in these movies. But it was still... It gained my favor as it went on.
Nice.
Because I started at a very low opinion, and then some of the brutality happened. Every time the brutality came back on camera, I was like, all right, yeah, let's do more of that. No, we got to hear Jackie Chan get scolded by the police commissioner. Bloody. I do feel like it goes on a little bit long.
Yeah, if I had one complaint about this movie, and really just my one complaint, is like turning the dial down on the drama a little bit, like especially between him and his fiance. Like, I get that you're like pulling at the heartstrings, but I could do with like a little less than that. And we could just, you don't have to give me more brutality, just shorten up that runtime a little bit and you'd be right there in the sweet spot.
That head bomb fake out.
Head bomb.
Yeah. Ooh, better run and just jump.
And that's probably the worst visual effect in the entire
looked
movie.
really bad.
Is that police building exploding?
And it was like all glass or something, so it looks like extra bad. It looks like almost like the cop from Terminator 2 just turned into crystal and just like exploded on screen or something.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah, that the stuff with the fiance was just like, okay, we don't really need this. Actually, let's just keep it so that it ends sad.
Do the sad happy birthday scene. You could probably just cut that out.
Yeah, that was weird. What was I gonna say? Oh, the way it ends. I mean, the final standoff with overprivileged cop kid. It kind of felt a little anticlimactic. Like he finally gets to like get the comeuppance of this guy, and I was just like, do it, shoot yourself, come on, let's do it. Because I thought he was gonna do it. I mean, once he pulled the gun out, I was just like, and he sees that he's surrounded. I was like, is he gonna off himself? That'd be pretty sweet.
Nah, suicide by cop. That's how you go. It would have been cooler if he shot his dad, the police commissioner.
Oh, that would have been cool.
That would have been satisfying because that guy is a piece of.
I love that though.
Yeah.
He's just like, wrong kid died. Wrong kid
Yeah.
died. Like just yelling at him, wrong kid died. Yeah. Overall, I mean, I'll give it a good like 70%. I think it's a watch.
Nice. It actually has a 6.9 out of 10 on IMDb.
Yeah.
So you're right there.
I think it's a solid watch for one time. And if you're not into Hong Kong cinema, like, I think you'll enjoy it. Like, I found some enjoyable parts of it. Even at least if you are having a good time with some buds and you want to have some drinks and watch this, I think this is a good movie for that. But I don't think I'll rewatch it. Just not my bag, baby.
That's fair. I was trying to give you a gift, like really
Out of my wheelhouse.
half of it was like, we don't do kung fu movies because I know you and David aren't like super huge on them, or at least I feel like we've had this conversation.
He is.
David might be into the kung fu.
Well, that's. I mean,
I was like, let me show Danny like a gem from my past here, like just this little one, and it's not like straight up kung fu. Get that like cheesy police action in there. I was trying to like dip your toe a little bit.
Police dramas. I'm burnt out on, man.
That's fair.
Even though the movie I gave you kind of has a little bit of a police drama, but what was I going to say?
Does it?
Or does it? Oh, yeah. But when I was watching this, I was just like, you know what? I can see why. I think David would probably watch it and like it too, but this lends into why you guys like John Wick so much. And for those who are not sure with the UMR lore, I am not on the John Wick train. I'll watch them, and I'll watch them once, and that's good for me.
I just rewatched all the John Wicks. I feel like I want to do it again when number 4 comes out. Oh boy,
I just can't. It's just like watching. It's like watching Bill and Ted Face the Music and Keanu doing just trying so hard.
No, I feel like John Wick hit the director John Wick figured out the key to having Keanu Reeves in your movie, and that's less lines, more punching.
Him talk.
Don't let him talk. Just let him punch and kick things, shoot some guns. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and I feel like they're just trying to get it more and more ridiculous to where the point where they're trying to emulate Hong Kong cinema at this point, I guess.
And I'm down, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
That's cool. I'm glad you at least saw the fun in it, because it's not like some cinema masterpiece. It's just like a good, fun watch.
I couldn't outright write it off.
Yeah.
There were good things, and there were things that eventually made me want to like stare at the TV because I was like losing. When they would do the dramatic stuff, I'd be like, okay.
Yeah, it's easy to get a little sleepy-eyed in a lot of those scenes because they go on for a minute.
Yeah.
Or like the little budding romance between his fake cop partner and the technical aide at the police. It's like, yeah,
the one with the anime
really
hair.
Yeah. I need you guys to talk about like how comforting noodles are.
That's another thing too. Is like as soon as obviously as soon as like new guy shows up and starts really having an interest in the old detective who's been written off, it's like, okay, is this guy the villain? Because he seems like the villain.
You thought they were doing like a spiral? You know what I mean?
Yeah, essentially, yeah. It probably would have been. This is probably exactly Spiral.
Spiral.
What a crap movie. Speaking of which, on the other side of not being a good movie, on the good movie side, I hope, Frank, what'd you think of the movie I gave you, which was 2020's, I didn't know it was 2020, 2020's The Empty Man?
So the Empty Man, you had given me the preface like, hey, like it suffers from generic title thing, and I said, yeah, like totally. If I was scrolling through like Netflix or something and I saw the Empty Man, I'd be like, no,
That's a dumb title.
I don't even want to know what I don't even want to know what this movie's about. Just we'll just keep going. You know what I mean? But I watched the trailer, was pretty stoked. I think I even told you like, yo, that looks pretty exciting. I'm not gonna lie.
Changes perception of it.
I think it might have the longest prologue of almost any movie I've ever seen. It's like 22 minutes long. It's amazing. The
prologue rocks,
really good.
Man.
Like I went in excited. By the time the prologue was over, I was like, yeah, dude. Let's go. Unfortunately, it didn't hit that hard for me, man.
It slogs for a bit.
It slogs for a bit, for sure. I feel like this movie could benefit from a trim, for sure.
It was a bit long.
But all in all, I'll hit the pros first. I feel like that's a good way to do it. The intro is super awesome. Some really awesome edits. They do that that universe glitch thing, which I think is really cool.
Yeah.
The visual effects are dope. Like even a scene that sticks out for me in my head is when he's like investigating that camp and they're doing that weird ritual, you know what I mean? And that crazy fire in the sky. That was super dope. That scene itself is probably one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
Branch,
yeah,
and
dude. He hits the nope and he keeps running. But there are just a lot of things in this movie that like turned me off a little bit, man. The joke where he's like, so I guess spoilers, you know what I mean? If you haven't seen The Empty Man, which I think is probably a lot of you.
This is a big spoiler because I feel like you should go into this movie knowing nothing about it.
Yeah, if you are interested, you stand the best chance if you go in totally blind.
A big old spoiler moment.
Yeah. Skip ahead or go watch one of our other. Go watch the Tremors ranking. It's a good time. There's my recommendation for today. And into it. So, The Empty Man, we do Slender Man framework. Yes. You know what I mean? You summon the entity, and then the entity like haunts you over the 3 days, as the legend goes, and then he takes you and all that. But then we find out like there's actually this kind of cult built around the Empty Man, and finding him a new host. Because correct me if I'm wrong, but the old dude sitting in the hospital bed is the guy from the prologue, right?
Yeah.
Because the eyes.
1995, yeah.
So his body, they've ran through it. He's torn up from the floor up.
He's like a conduit for what the Empty Man is.
Yeah.
And then that's how they spurned the church.
So as the viewer going through this, you're watching it, and the way you're percepting it is this cop is trying to intervene with the disappearance of their girl. So he's investigating this cult. But then the big twist is you find out he's actually a tulpa created by the cult. And the reason he's going through all this is because they needed that like emotional scarring for the Empty Man to really like attach himself to as the conduit.
Which is wild.
Yeah, it's wild. When they started mentioning tulpas, I was like, cool. That a tulpa is an idea that I can get behind.
And for those who aren't aware, I'm just going to give you a definition.
Bless you.
I'm just going to give you a definition. A tulpa, it's a concept in theosophy.
Is that like tapas?
It's not as tasty. It's it's of the paranormal. It's of an object or a being that is created through spiritual or mental powers. Therefore, it's really thought form. Think make, you know what I mean? Like thought created into something. However, there's some misconception, I think, in this movie as to what the tulpa is and what the Empty Man is. Because we come to find that the Empty Man, or at least the creature that they find in the cave, is real.
Yeah.
And some kind of, I don't know, cosmic horror creature from another dimension or something like that.
Something beyond our understanding, even if you
yeah. And
like even the cult, they probably don't even fully get it.
No, and I love like the scenes of like, you know, he stumbles upon like a whole room of like these followers just like staring at a black poster. And it's like a really good like metaphor for what the movie is like, what is the Empty Man? The Empty Man is like the like amalgamation of any horror you can think. You're creating it. And that being said, the amount of people group thinking from the conduit that is that guy, Paul, created a legit person that was only alive for a couple days and itself is going to serve as a host, which is, I mean, that goes into like 5D. Like, okay, wait, then does he need a physical host? Like, is this guy a physical host? Who knows? But
Well, yeah, I think like what they were like with the whole Paul thing, like they needed him to be an entity, so they made this tulpa. You know what I mean? But at least like as the viewer, we see him as a physical being.
Right.
You know what I mean? But it's like, does that girl's mom even exist? Like, if he didn't bang her, is that just part of the story? Because it goes back to the house
no,
and it's
because
totally empty.
yeah, and
so
then she
she's
doesn't
not real.
remember him.
No,
He calls
she's
her.
like, "Who the hell are you? Why are
Yeah.
you calling me? This isn't Domino's. Where's my pizza?" But it's like
empty, man.
But for me, it was a little bit of like Stephen Root's character, the guy
Oh,
from
yeah.
The Office. You know what I mean? He's telling him this thing like, if you say a word over and over again, it loses its meaning, and if you say a concept over and over again, like it's the same thing is true with the concept. So like, what really has the power? But for me, that's like what the movie suffers from a little bit. Like
Yes.
they beat you over and over
Yeah.
the head with like the mysticism of it and the big concepts. Like, I feel like they needed to pull it back a little bit, because for me it like loses a little bit of its punch like throughout the end of it, to where the point where the movie ended, and Grace and I were just kind of sitting in silence for a second, and I just kind of looked at her like, yeah, I think that's gonna be a no for me. Like, I gotta say, it wasn't a total waste of time. The movie had really cool elements. Even the score is pretty cool.
Yeah.
The sound design's awesome. Beautiful shots.
Yeah.
But it's like overall, probably the same thing. Like rewatch value, very little for me.
Yeah, and that's partly due to the like runtime. I think that's like a big thing.
2 hours and 17 minutes of runtime,
And
no ads.
I mean, it isn't like 10 hours that you gave me last year, but
Fair.
I'll take it. But what I was gonna get at is like this movie does suffer from runtime, a little bit of pretentiousness, but then also the delivery of it. I think it could have been reined in a little bit more, and where they can't just be bashing you over the head with it, because there's really good moments of it where it's like the prologue kills. The prologue is really great, and then finding out that Paul is like the conduit for whatever the empty man is, really cool moment. And I mean him infiltrating like the church could have been cut down. Like, I think they were trying. That was like the writer or maybe the director just like kind of stroking their own tube. You know what I mean?
David Pryor did the directing, but he also wrote the screenplay. It's based off of a book.
Yeah, it was a graphic novel.
But David Pryor also did the screenplay for it, so it's all him. So I feel like they could have benefited in the editing room post-production, but also like when they were storyboarding. Like there's a lot they could have left behind. And I wish it had kept the same energy like from the prologue. It would have f***ed a lot harder, because by the time they get to the big reveal,
it has so much rhythm.
I was like, I don't know, guys.
Yeah, I think it loses just momentum.
Yeah,
it loses momentum because like near the discovery that he's a tulpa, like while he's infiltrating the church, I feel like that's where it gets a little tiresome, because then they're just spewing out like propositions of like philosophy.
Yeah,
and it's like, okay, this is cool and all, but like we need to keep the momentum like going. Like, you had me.
Well, listen, you stabbed a bunch of people and threw them off a cliff at the beginning of this movie. You got to keep me hard, or I'm out. Like I'm losing it here. Yeah,
yeah. Well,
to put it not so delicately,
they have the little scene right after that with the American kids like interacting with whatever. They're basically doing like a Bloody Mary.
Yeah,
and it kind of like diminishes what you just saw as being the empty man. But I guess it like speaks to like an idea of something being translated differently through cultures, and you know what I mean. I can try and make it as better as possible. I mean, as you know, as good as possible by saying it, but like, it's just
it's like thinking about something mystic in the Tibetan mountains. Those people have a way different respect for something like that versus like by the time it gets down to like LA, you know what I mean? And it's just like
it's another urban legend.
Yeah, it's just another thing. So
misconstrued.
I can get that. It was a bit of a miss for me by the end. They probably could have made some different decisions and it would have played out better. It also suffers from like, I was reading about it a little bit, and it's like it was a Fox entity, but then when Disney acquired Fox, they really didn't know what to do with this movie, so they didn't like market it. They just kind of like let it slide out. You know what I mean? And it shows in the numbers.
I've been there.
Made on a $16 million budget, they would worldwide gross about just under 5 million.
It went straight to streaming,
Yeah.
I think, right? Yeah, I mean, that's how I saw it. I like you said, I was browsing through titles and I'd seen it a bunch of times, and this might be like one of those, like, later down the line we'll come back and we'll do doppelganger movies, because I'm pretty sure a movie by the same name or something very similar had came out around the same time. It was like the Bye Bye Man and Candyman came out.
Yeah, it's like, in how
and
many
it's
of those movies do they make?
dumb.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, the title and even the font and the movie poster, they're not really revealing of anything. So it's like, this looks like any other movie that could be on Shudder.
Yeah,
Or
fair,
something. You know what I mean?
fair.
I just liked it because I thought, regardless of its problems, it's still a pretty original concept, I think.
I would say they took an original route with the concept that was being done a lot at this time.
Yeah.
Because like that, like you said, you named off a list of movies. You know what I mean? It's a fresher take on an idea that was getting played out a bunch at the time. My biggest gripe for me, and my eyes started rolling into the back of my head. Our main character has that line when he comes across these cult members, like, I don't need to hear this. Like, I grew up in San Francisco, and the first time he said it, I was like, that's kind of funny. But by like the 7th time he hits it, I was
he
like,
says it again?
Yeah, he just keeps hitting it every time. He's like, no, I don't believe this. I grew up in San Francisco. It's just like, man, like, what's the tone that we're going for? It kept throwing the tone off for me.
It's like when your friend makes a bad joke and then he thinks you don't hear it, but you did hear it and you're not going to react to it. So he's just going to
So
keep
he just
saying
keeps
it.
repeating it, and then nobody reacts until one of us finally has to be like, let's not name names. We'll just go with initials JB. We heard it. It just wasn't funny. you can stop now.
I think it does suffer from writing because, like you're saying, those moments, there's a lot of redundancies, and then there's just like beating you over the head with philosophies that are kind of the same, or just like throwing out like, you know, Illuminati ideas or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, let's just stick to one thing and keep the rhythm going.
Yeah, it hit the, like, you could tell the director was trying to be like, whoa, isn't that trippy?
Yeah.
But he lays it on so thick that, but eventually you're like, dude, like, nah, chill out, man.
I feel like if they brought the ending earlier, it really would have had a bigger impact.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure. I feel like that's fair.
I still think that it's a watch. I will continue to recommend this to people, especially horror lovers and especially cosmic horror lovers. Like, and I guess it's a little bit of psychological horror in some moments, but
I think I would tell people you might like it, because I
Yeah.
didn't, but my friend Danny did. But he also didn't like the Warriors, so take that with a grain of salt.
yeah, it sucked.
Holy smokes!
I mean, that being said, that's good. I mean, we're kind of in the same boat.
I feel like we gave each other similar gifts as it. Even
Something out of our wheelhouses.
The IMDb score is 6.2
Oh, yeah.
out of 10 on IMDb versus the 6.9. They had very similar scores. A high 6 versus a low 6. So just to put that out there. Not saying one's better than the
Just
other.
like your
but
mom.
I am. Whoa. Whoa. She actually watches this, so
I love you, Mom.
comment below, Mom.
It's the universal mom, not you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, the ethereal mother. Yeah, I think it's funny it ended up that way. I was honestly really worried when he texted me, because I was like, did he watch it already? Is he watching it right now? Because this doesn't seem good. Like, I thought I was going to show up and you were going to be pissed again.
I was, if it had stopped there,
Yeah.
I would have been real pissed.
But I'm glad you found the fun in it, because it really just is like a fun watch.
Yeah, it's got its moments.
Where like the Empty Man, cool concepts, visually cool, like
Yeah.
it was visually pleasing.
Some spooky moments.
But yeah, I just feel like it wasn't worth the 2 hour 17-minute investment for me, at least. But yeah,
If
I'd like to see if David Pryor does something else. It'd be cool to see like a redeeming. You had seen
Yes.
that he did an episode of that anthology series.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities on Netflix, which I did watch all the way through. I guess as a mini rec, I'd say overall, I think there's 8 episodes. It's worth watching all of them and seeing which one works for you, because they are all a really good aspiring like horror or thriller directors that have each episode, and some of them I really love. So there was one by David Pryor, and his was The Autopsy, which I believe is number 3, and I started on that one because I was just like, well, let's watch it, and it is great. The first episode of Cabinet of Curiosities, also really good. I know David Bruckner actually does one of them.
Really?
Yep. And I know that, what's her name? I'm going to forget her name, but it is the person who did the Babadook and the Nightingale. She did one of them as well, and it's pretty sweet. There's a couple big names on there, though.
Might have to check that out. Because as a rule now, if I see Guillermo del Toro's name attached and he's not directing, I walk away. Because I'm not getting burned Scary Stories style again. You know what I mean?
I brought this exact point up to Sam when we were talking about it because I was just like, I don't know, man. He's pretty willy-nilly with his name now.
Yeah, apparently, he'll just throw it on anything.
Just throw it on anything. But, and she said, yeah, that happened with Scary Stories. And I was like, yes, we're on the same page.
Yes.
Yes.
You're like, oh, wow, I have that scar too.
yeah. We keep bringing it up because it is like our gauge of movie.
Yeah.
Down here.
Worst book adaptation I've seen in a long time. What are you going to do? But yeah, cool. Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
I was like, man, Danny's going to be pissed at me 2 years in a row. You know what I mean? I actually brought you
I like this better than Serenity.
That's good. I brought you a little gift, actually. Just in case, you know what I mean? It's like a consolation prize.
This is a copy of Serenity. I swear to God.
It's not, I promise. Did you see the wrapping paper?
Oh, it's cute. It's got some cramp. Dang, dude, where'd you find that wrapping paper?
If you're in El Paso, highly recommend Red Door Vintage. That shop is dope in Sunland Park Mall. They've been around for years, but they're currently at Sunland Park, and that shop is so much fun.
Yeah, I almost feel bad like ripping this thing.
Yeah, rip it up.
It's really nice. Especially because I can't like open a present right, so I just have to like.
You just got big hands, bud.
4 films.
Yeah,
featuring Nicolas Cage. I mean, Nick Cage is the GOAT, man. So what do we got here? 4 films I've never heard of in my life.
Yeah, so yeah, that's how you know you found a treasure.
We got The Humanity Bureau, Trespass, Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans. So I'm guessing it's a sequel. And Stolen. Wow.
Yeah, you know, I had also never heard of any of those movies.
I'm trying to look at the trademark for when these came out, and I'm pretty sure, yeah, this is all within the time period of Nick Cage having to take all those roles. You know what I mean? To pay off his dinosaur skulls and stuff.
To pay for stealing the Declaration of Independence or whatever.
Apparently, Zane told me that Nick Cage has already purchased his grave in New Orleans.
Okay.
And it's like a giant white pyramid.
Love it.
I know.
I'll visit it.
Would you rather have him do anything else?
No, I'm down.
He's amazing. He really is amazing.
Nick Cage, national treasure.
Thanks for this present.
Lovely.
I'll be sure to watch it.
You can just put it on the shelf, you know?
Yeah, we found a new set piece. Yay.
There you go. Funny, I actually, I was trying to hunt down all the John Wicks, like, so I could bust through watching them, which I ended up just finding a deal on for like it was really weird. I got all 3 John Wicks it came on DVD, Blu-ray, and digital.
Tight.
For like $17.96
Whoa.
on Amazon. Yeah, crazy.
From where?
On Amazon.
Wow.
Where I was searching through like clearance bins for like DVD copies, and I was paying like $5 to $10 a piece. I had found John Wick 1, which for some reason was the last one that I took found, so I was really excited. It was just a slipcover over this DVD. So I paid $5 for that, thinking it was John Wick 1. And then I was excited to start the rewatch. I took off the slipcover and I was like, what the is this?
Wait, so you bought it thinking it was John Wick?
Yes.
So this is an accidental present, and I love it even more now.
It's been sitting around, and I was like, I'm just
gonna throw this to Danny.
Yeah.
Why not?
I was thinking about using it as a white elephant gift, but I was
that'd be a good one.
I'll just give it to Danny on the podcast today. It'll be fun.
This is definitely a moment during a white elephant that I pull a Yankee swap.
Yeah, you swap that. This is the gift that you're like, okay, who's getting stuck with it?
This is gross, but I also love it just because it's Nick Cage. Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a good shelf piece.
Look at him running from the fire on the back of that cover. You know that's a bad movie.
I'm more worried about this Bad Lieutenant because it has a colon and a subtitle, so it's got to be a sequel, which is
or not, and that would make it even weirder.
That'd be even weirder. Well, I mean that's gonna do something.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna kick it over to Character Limit Extended, the movie review segment where we talk a little bit more about the movie we talked a little bit about a week ago.
That's right. And that would be Walk Hard.
Yeah. Well, actually, this week, if we stick to this weird release schedule, we got a twofer Character Limit Extended.
I guess we could talk about either, but
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, let's talk about my birthday pick. Walk Hard.
let's
the
talk
Dewey
about
Cox story.
Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
And I believe
I had the haiku.
You had the haiku. So why don't you hit us up?
Frank, you made just one of the best birthday choices I think you've ever made. I mean, it's like Dog Soldiers and
Dude,
Walk
Dog Soldiers
Hard.
wasn't even a birthday choice. That was just when we were each choosing a movie for the weeks of Halloween. Dog Soldiers, excuse me for our younger listeners, Dog Soldiers hard.
Yeah, it
and you know what else hard? Dewey Cox.
Yeah, he does. I've seen it.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I rewatched this movie, but like, what an awesome just cameo cast. Like the jokes hit so hard still.
Yeah.
The songs are amazing. They're still so funny. I feel like when it gets to like his like almost to his pre-Bob Dylan era, I feel like that's like the point of the movie where like I kind of dip and I lose. I need like a break from like the silliness and stuff, and I get a little sloggy right when they meet the Beatles and all that. But then it comes back up like near the end of it too. But I mean, it's even better than I remember this movie being.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I downplayed it in my head a little bit. Like in between we watch this. It's not like an every year thing. It's like every few years, maybe.
Yeah.
I had thought about it at the beginning. Usually for my birthday pick, we get like a week or two out and I'm like, oh yeah, I still need to pick a movie. But I thought of this movie for some reason in like February. I'm like, how have we not done this yet? I was like, you know what? It's my birthday pick this year.
Dang, you
Like,
thought about it in February?
We're doing it. We're doing it this year. I've been excited all year to talk about this movie.
That's insane.
And-
That's commitment.
and it was such a pleasure to.
You could have just chosen
experience
The
it for the
Spirits
first time.
Within.
Oh God, never again. I never want to watch that movie again. Jesus Christ.
I hate that movie so much.
I don't hate it as much as you do, but I hate it. Shout out to David. Anti-shout out. If you're at home listening, I hate you for making us watch that again.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, hopefully we'll never do it again, David.
We were saying this earlier, but you know, I didn't realize in the time that Judd Apatow co-wrote this. And shout out to our Judd Apatow movie ranking out there. It's down in the queue right down below. Just go ahead and scroll down and check it out because that's a good one too. Because Judd Apatow is kind of a hack. We've came to find out
A little bit.
That being said, this is probably his best work.
It's so good. You know what I mean?
He didn't direct it though.
There were so many lulls in the Judd Apatow ranking, and that's why like he didn't direct it. He didn't make it into this one, which is a shame because it's a lot better than a lot of the stuff that he did. What are you gonna do? Yeah, I feel like I hit most of the points I wanted to in the book report for the character limit extended. For the character limit exceeded for the exceeded. I
There you
get
go.
confused when we're in the podcast, but I just touched briefly on the music. I can't overstate how catchy the music is.
So
the music's
good.
so good.
Even the
It's-
song "Walk Hard." Is
Yeah,
fantastic.
Walk Hard is legitimately a dope song.
I
If it
think
had
it's
come
even
out in
better
that
than Walk the
time,
Line.
yeah,
to be
maybe. You
honest.
know what I mean? It's really good. They spoof so many different artists. That it's fantastic. I love the miscastings in a lot of it. Like there's intentionally bad castings, like especially for the Beatles. You know what I mean?
yeah.
None of those guys look like the Beatles, and they do the
Except
voices
for,
so.
Schwartzman.
Schwartzman,
sorry.
yeah.
Schwartzman looks just like Ringo Starr.
That one's pretty funny. It's funny that they nailed that one because he's the weakest Beatle. Like
I'm just here to have fun.
yeah, Grace is a huge Beatles fan, so like since
Same.
we started dating, we've listened to a lot of Beatles. I've never been the biggest fan, but
Oh, that's good.
it's
Sam
it's-
hates the Beatles.
it's
so.
affected my playlist to the point where some of my other playlists it's started putting on their solo projects, and in that process I've learned
Yo,
that, like,
George Harrison. I mean,
George Harrison,
Oh, man.
dope. John Lennon obviously is who he is. Like
Paul McCartney.
Ringo Starr's
Yeah.
solo projects suck. I hate
Oh, they're awful.
every song that I've heard him do. There's no way they would have let him record any of those songs if he wasn't
It's
a Beatle.
because he writes carousel songs, dude.
Ah,
I
dude.
mean, like
they're so dumb.
he
I
wrote
hate them,
Octopus's
man.
Garden, right? I mean,
And that's the
it's awful.
yeah.
Didn't he write Yellow Submarine?
Yeah.
Oh.
And the-
Submarine, though.
that's the joke in like Walk Hard. You know what I mean? He's like, I have a song about an octopus, and they're like, you're lucky we still let you play drums. So it's so funny, man. I just
even that in the Family Guy bit where it's just like, I have a song. Oh, that's great, Ringo. We'll put it right here, right on the fridge.
oh man, but there's so many good moments in this movie. If you haven't seen it, I'd highly recommend it. I believe this was your first watch, right, Grace?
Yeah.
Nice.
And am I overstating that you had like a good time? You thought it was pretty funny?
It was great.
Yeah.
This is like laugh out loud. I was like making breakfast and watching the intro scene, and I was laughing my ass off as the whole brother cut in half scene started. I was just like, this is amazing, man.
Even the like little things with them giving him his like Achilles heel of like losing his sense of smell with the trauma. Like
I'm
the first
smell
time,
blind.
yeah, the first time he like walks into the room and they're smoking reefers, and they're like, "Can't you smell that?" And he's like, "No, I can't." Like I still lost it. It still kills me to this day, man.
Dude,
It's-
even the reefer joke is just amazing
Yeah.
too. It's the cheapest drug there is.
well, I think I may want a little
I
bit of
think
that
I want a
marijuana.
little bit of this. Okay, but make it quick.
So good. I always forget about the full frontal male nudity, which is fun. You know what I mean? I don't know whose penis that is, but shout out to you for putting your tiny little shriveled penis on camera like that.
I love when his bandmates are kicking him out and they're just like, we want to have sex with other people too, or was it just like,
Oh, you've never thrown women our way. We want to have we want to cheat on our wives too. It's like, or the guy, his rhythm guitarist tells him like, you slept with my wife, and his bassist is like, you slept with me, and I've had really confused feelings about that ever since.
I hate you, Dewey
Yeah.
Cox?
God, it's so good. Everybody in the cast does a fantastic job, no matter how small or how big their role is.
Now you
And there's just
listen
so
here.
many faces.
These nice Jewish men came in here and paid a lot of money to give me some quality content.
Yeah, it was fun seeing that. I always forget that actor's name.
I think it's Fred something.
Like less Jewish Eugene Levy.
Oh, the one from Ghostbusters.
Is he in Ghostbusters?
Yeah. That was it was.
No, I'm not talking about Harold Remus. I'm talking about
Oh,
the engineer, the first engineer Dewey records Walk Hard with. He plays the main coach in that cheerleading movie Fired Up.
Yeah.
And I was really excited to see him because we had just watched Fired Up.
Yeah, what's his name?
Which is I feel like Fired Up is way funnier than it deserves to be.
It's
a good
his
watch.
name's Fred something. I can't remember his name.
Not Armisen.
No,
And definitely not Durst.
Is it Fred Ward? No, Fred Ward's the one that died, right?
Maybe. Let's see.
Fred Ward. Yeah, that was the dude from Tremors.
I bet you I could find him faster on Fired Up than I can Walk Hard.
Are you thinking of this guy? This guy?
Yes.
This guy. He was one of the judges on Pitch Perfect.
Really?
Yeah, what was...
Dude, he's so funny. Every time I see him in something, he has me laughing my testicles off.
He's fantastic, and I'm trying to...
John Michael Higgins.
That's him.
That's a hard name
What
to
a
remember.
name. What a name. It reminds me of like Walton Goggins, who also rocks.
But yeah, I can't recommend Walk Hard enough.
I mean, it's amazing. It's right at the ass end of movies like Ricky Bobby and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
it's just done so well.
And you know what? You hit a really good point about like John C. Reilly getting his chance as a lead because he's really strong. His
amazing.
comedic stuff's so good, and this is like I like how many dramatic notes he gets to hit in earnest while being able to like weave the sarcasm and the
Yeah.
parody in there. It's I don't know. It was the perfect role for John C. Reilly.
And then we usually see him as like part two of the Will Ferrell like duo, but
Yeah.
like he's like he's not he's like kind of like the almost the straight man compared to Will Ferrell. Will Ferrell kind of like takes the lead in like the duos that they have, but like I mean he's just amazing on his own too.
So good.
But also we think about movies that he's been in. I mean like look at like The Perfect Storm, Gangs of New York,
Gangs of New York. Man.
Boogie Nights, Magnolia. Like he was a legit serious actor for a long time. Yeah, he's amazing. That movie's amazing.
John C. Reilly was in Chicago. I don't remember that, but I haven't seen
Really?
Chicago since 2002 when it came out.
I don't remember that. Not bad.
Should we talk about The Emperor's New Groove a little bit?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, I love this movie. I'm so glad that it's still so funny.
Yeah, it's easily been over 10 years since I've watched this
yeah.
movie. There's no way there's no way it's been more recent than that. to the point where I was a little bit nervous going in. I was like, man, this might feel super dated. It might not be like, it might be a little cringy. Nah, dude, I was shocked at one thing. I was expecting to catch some more adult humor that I didn't recognize as a kid. Maybe one adult humor joke. The rest of them are just family friendly jokes.
Can you think of which one?
Hilarious. It's the one where it is Yzma? Yzma. It's the one where Yzma's like, now I can finally show you this when the big comeuppance. And she goes to pick up her dress, and both of the characters are like, oh God, no. But it turns out to just be a knife.
She's like, ha-ha!
Yeah, they thought they were about to see her old vagina.
I think that's what they were alluding to. Yeah. That and the wrinkles.
And the wrinkles. Well, the wrinkles on
everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere, you know.
I love that. I love when they're just like, there was a woman and a big lunky guy, and he's like, can you describe the woman? Scary beyond all belief. Beyond reason.
Yeah, really good humor. Soundtrack, amazing.
Oh, it is fantastic.
Like as soon that was one of the only notes I took, because for the rest of the movie I was just enjoying it. But I was like, okay, the soundtrack is already really good.
Yeah. Oh, in the beginning?
Yeah.
Oh, right away, dude. Right
just
away.
Just a little theme song. Oh man, it had me grooving.
Yeah, the art is really cool. The art style is really cool.
Yeah.
I feel like I can't really place a finger on like a Disney movie that kind of emulates that legit art style.
Well, I think they were trying to get a little bit of like Incan art style in it, with as far as like the way the characters themselves are designed, with like
and
the
their
super
nose
sharp
and the
features and everything.
and stuff. Yeah.
So that makes sense that they did it that way. I feel like it's all. I mean, I don't know. I don't have
cast.
any Incan blood, so I can't say they like did it tastefully. That's not for me to say.
I don't know.
But I'd imagine they did. Nothing seemed super offensive.
I mean, it seemed like it was pretty right on. But the cast kills it, man. You got like John Goodman. You got Patrick Warburton is this movie, dude.
Fair.
I think he's the strongest one in this movie, actually.
David Spade's probably the weakest.
Yeah.
And it was an easy role for him. It's not like he had a lot of range. He just had to be like a spoiled baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is a good role
That's
for David Spade.
Yeah. But think about this movie without Kronk in it, and it's just like probably 80% of the jokes wouldn't be good.
Man, that would be a bummer. Some of the high points are just him fighting with his like devil and angel on the shoulder.
God.
So good, man.
Look at that sissy stringy thing he's got over there. Oh, I love it.
Patrick Warburton may live forever.
Love him. It feels like an Arby's day. This just reminds me of that one part when he's in Seinfeld. I think you've seen this one, but like, he's dating Elaine, and then he's like a devout Catholic, and she's like atheist and stuff, and then she's just like, doesn't it bother you that I'm like, what was it, that I'm not Catholic or anything like that? And he's like, no. And he's like, why? And he's just like, because I'm not the one that's going to hell, you are.
What a good line.
Love him.
Love it.
Yeah, man. Can't say enough. Yeah, 10 out of 10. This movie rocks, dude.
If you haven't seen it in the last 22 years, pop it on again. If it's been a while and you don't remember, pop it on again. If you've never seen it, pop it on. You might
it's
enjoy
amazing.
yourself.
Yeah, both of these movies I cannot recommend enough.
Also, I remember it being a very fun, very frustrating side-scrolling video game.
I never played the game.
Dude, yeah. The parts of the
What was it
movie
for?
brought back like the visions of the game. I'm pretty sure I played it on PlayStation 2.
Okay. Huh.
It might have been PS1, who knows? But it was
Like
I
a
played it on
platformer?
PlayStation. Yeah, it was a platformer. Yeah, I said side scroller, but it was definitely a platformer.
Well, it probably side-scrolled, right?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I remember being real frustrated.
it's the era of the classic Disney movie platformer
Yeah.
accompanying game. You
Yeah,
know what I
I'm
mean?
sure some of those levels were like straight up copy and pasted from like the Lion King, and then they just
Well, yeah.
put,
What's
like, a
the really
different thing on
famous
it, you
good
know what I
one?
mean?
Is it the Lion King one? Is
The
like
Lion
the really
King's
good
dope.
one? The Aladdin one's supposed to be pretty tight.
The Aladdin one I remember pretty well.
But there's one that's supposed to be really bad too, and I can't remember which one. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
Probably a lot of them, if we're being fair.
There's probably a good amount of them. But that being said, rock on.
Rock on, yeah. Two really awesome movies that we watched this week for Character Limit Extended. What are you gonna do? Let's go ahead and scoot it on over to. I can't find the button. Oh, Oh, that's interesting. Our current event segment that sometimes we don't do events that are that current or just totally forgo because sometimes there's not interesting things happening in the movie world. But this week there is one of our favorite characters, Quentin Tarantino. Says Marvel actors aren't movie stars. Captain America is the star, not Chris Evans.
What?
Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Jennifer Aniston made headlines. This is coming from Variety.com. I didn't write this, obviously. Jennifer Aniston made headlines at the start of the November when she declared there are no more...
You said the November.
I caught it, and I was like, shit, that's on record forever. There are no more movie stars. It's a statement that Quentin Tarantino agrees with, as evidenced by director's recent interview on Two Bears, One Cave podcast via Mediaite.
That's a great name.
That is a really good podcast name, yeah. Tarantino attributed...
Wait, I'm sorry, really quick. Is that Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer's? Let me see that.
Yeah, you want to look that up? I already clicked the link.
Two Bears.
It is Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer.
That's that one, yeah, okay. I've heard
that
it's pretty
makes
good.
sense. Those are two very bear-like men. Tarantino attributed the loss of movie stars to the Marvelization of Hollywood. Let me see if I can do this in my best Quentin Tarantino.
Oh, God.
I need a baggier shirt.
Yeah, you
and
need a
weird
Kangol hat.
Yo, part of the Marvelization of Hollywood is you have all these actors who have become famous playing these characters, Tarantino said, but they're not movie stars, right? Captain America is the star, or Thor is the star. I mean, I'm not the person to say that. I think that's been said a million times, but it's like, it's the franchise characters that become a star. For Tarantino, Captain America is the star and not Chris Evans. I'm not even putting them down, frankly, to tell you the truth. The director said earlier about movie stars no longer existing in bulk, but that is one of the legacy of Marvelization of Hollywood movies. Tarantino clarifies that he doesn't hate the movies. He's just saying, look, I used to collect Marvel comics like crazy when I was a kid. There's an aspect that if these movies were coming out when I was in my 20s, I would totally be fucking happy and totally love them. I mean, they wouldn't be the only movies being made. They would be those movies amongst other movies, but I'm almost 60, so yeah. No, I'm not quite as excited about them. My only axe to grind against them is they're the only things that seem to be made, he added. And they're the only things that seem to generate any kind of excitement amongst a fan base or even for the studio making them.
Man, not really anymore.
Not anymore, That's what they're excited about. And so it's just the fact that they are the entire representation of the era of movies right now. There's not really much room for anything else. That's my problem.
Yeah.
Don't expect Tarantino to ever get involved in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Hopes.
The director said that would be a weird movie, but that'd be a weird one.
This dude was trying to get into the Star Wars universe, wasn't he? They were talking about him doing a Star Trek movie. That's what they were talking about.
Yeah, but he's essentially saying when people see Chris Evans in a movie, I guess this would be for the younger generation.
Ooh, it's Captain America.
Yeah, I'm going to go see Chris Evans in this movie. I'm going to go see Captain America in this thing.
That's, but that's before Marvel too. If I saw Mark Hamill in a movie, I would have been like, oh my God, that's Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, easily. That just happens. Sometimes as an actor, one role defines your entire career.
Look at Robert Pattinson.
Yeah.
You can turn it around. I mean...
Robert Pattinson's done some great things till Twilight, but still I see him, I'm like, hey, check it out, it's Edward.
The dude is one of the best actors, I think, around. He's incredibly talented. I mean, I feel like he's totally redeemed himself from that. Whatever, he played one role. You know what I mean?
That'll happen.
But, I mean, this is another typical instance of just I guess he's not a boomer, but great, awesome, artistic director comes out with another quote against Marvel. It's almost like every fucking week.
Yeah.
It's like Martin Scorsese. It's like James Cameron had one. It's it's just we get it, guys. You're pissed that they're making a ton of money.
Yeah, right. That's definitely what it is.
I feel like that's what it comes down to. It's just they're making a bunch of money. I mean, it's more of a business than it is for any creativity sense, I think.
And it makes sense because it's an IP,
It's an IP.
They're pumping out IP so they can make new toys and new posters and new hats. And
it's a guaranteed audience.
Yeah.
And it's a guarantee, almost every time you'll get a return on investment. So why wouldn't they do it?
I mean, that's the thing. That's one of the reasons I do the numbers on all the movies we talk about, because it just shows, like, I'm not saying like the amount of money that a movie makes it a good or successful movie. It's just to highlight sometimes, like when we did the ranking for, oh my god, what's wrong with me right now?
What?
For Darjeeling Limited.
Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson. I forgot Wes Anderson's name. The nice thing about pointing out those numbers, it's like, yeah, all these movies are amazing. Look how little money a lot of them made. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, but that's just, I mean, you can do that with music. You can do that with anything. You
with
know what I mean?
anything.
Like,
some things are just made to hit a wide commercial audience, and they have a formula, and that formula performs financially very well.
I think
but not all art is for the same thing. You know what I mean?
This is for money.
Yeah.
It's
the cheesy art that they put up and print over and over again at like Target versus like a homegrown artist doing some really cool off the wall stuff. That's what the difference is.
But it's also like, it's dwindling at this point. You know what I mean? Like, since like Endgame, like even like the last Avengers movie, like it's been kind of hard to get the as many people as there were to even really care about a new Marvel movie coming out, because it's every month or so. And then also it's like they don't have really good like notable characters, so they're really having to like shoehorn smaller characters into larger roles, or making people just be like,
well, it's because even actors get tired of it at this point. They're like, you know what, I'm not putting that suit on again. I'm not doing
right.
it.
Or they have to get new people to do it.
Yeah. Or they die,
because it's all a big machine. I mean, look at what spurns from it. Like you were saying, there's merchandise, guaranteed merchandise, and then there's people selling bootleg merchandise from it, and then there's people like us who make content off of it, and then there's people who make actual money from their content off of it.
Like, share, subscribe. We'd like to be some of those people.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, look at how many. I mean, search something for the latest Marvel movie, and you'll get thousands of recommendations.
Plus the like hype machine behind it of like announcing
something.
Like not just a movie that's coming out, but the whole floor plan for the next like 12 movies that are coming out over the next 3 years. Like, I don't know. How long do they expect to keep that?
Will Comic-Con ever see the same numbers if there's not a Marvel announcement? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So get over it.
Get over it.
You know, I don't know. Maybe he was just ranting and just felt extra cranky that day. But he also says some of the dumbest shit around.
Yeah.
Just
don't forget, there's some crazy Quentin Tarantino interviews out there, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll post a link.
Dude makes great movies. Very strange person in real life.
Loves feet.
Loves the feet. Enough about Quentin Tarantino's foot fetish. We'll get back to it eventually, I'm sure. That's going to take us to our final segment of the night, Danny. It's Peeps and Predicts time, everybody.
Peeps and Predicts.
Everybody's favorite, very real, hypothetical debate segment on this podcast,
Dang,
where we take a set of peeps, or people, if you will, be they fictional or non-fictional, and we put them in two very real, sometimes very strange, sometimes very mundane predicaments
Very
or
true.
predicts,
Very
and
true.
we see who comes out on top. Our reigning champion from the last episode is one Hannibal Lecter, and the winner will go on to face the reigning champ.
Why don't you pull from the Peeps jar, friend?
Who will they be? Come on down. Man, Grace and I just saw a clip of Aaron Paul getting on The Price is Right, like before he was famous, and he was just so stoked.
Aw.
It was very cute. Russell Crowe versus Nicolas Cage.
Hey, this is a good matchup.
How fun, yeah.
Fighting round the world. Who's more likely to start a religious cult based on a tulpa? Wow.
Nicolas
timely.
Cage.
100%.
100%.
People like hate Russell Crowe.
Yeah, for reals. Russell Crowe, drunk, angry old dude. Nicolas Cage, crazy old dude.
Crazy old dude.
Crazy old dude.
And just is an enigma.
Yeah.
Absolute enigma in himself.
Nicolas Cage might be a tulpa, actually.
He could be. I mean, there's the Nicolas Cage that was around initially, and now there's the tulpa that is everyone's personification of Nicolas Cage that has become bigger than Nicolas Cage, maybe even ingested Nicolas Cage.
For reals. It probably caused the swelling in his body.
Ooh.
That was, I think, the easiest one we've ever had. besides who would cook a better meal, and that's how Hannibal Lecter got here.
That's
in
how
the
he
first
got
place,
here.
Yeah.
Who is more likely to snub? Who is more likely to snub the Salvation Army? Wow, this is hard. Oh, sorry. Who is more likely to snub the Salvation Army bell ringer? There we go. Is that from Home Alone? Is that what we're talking about?
No, it's just from like shopping in the Christmas season. I think I wrote this last week when we were together, or the last podcast, because the Salvation Army people are everywhere right now.
Yes, they are. And
Shout out to the Dallas Cowboys for celebrating in the Salvation Army bucket, even though they're getting fined like crazy for it.
Ooh.
Yeah.
How
about them boys?
How about screw the Salvation Army?
Screw the Salvation Army. I feel like both these guys are pretty likely to do that because they're super famous. I feel like Russell Crowe's more likely though. He
Kind of
seems
a
like the
shittier person.
the grumpier, shittier person of the two.
I mean, I'm going to go with Russell Crowe. I don't see a reason why Nicolas Cage would need to do that unless to pay off his debts, but then he'll just take on another movie.
Yeah, he'll just take roles. We
Evidence.
should write a movie and see if we can get Nicolas Cage to show
I bet it's not even that expensive, to be honest.
I bet it's not that. We'll have like a GoFundMe. It'll be easy. Yeah, Russell Crowe's the winner there for me.
Easily.
So we found ourselves in a tie-breaking situation.
Oh.
I just feel like the last thing I saw with Russell Crowe, as at least like most recent movie, is that movie about the road rage?
Yeah, dude, I watched that one too.
God, I watched it with my dad.
It started off okay.
I don't know, man. Like, as soon as it started, I was like, ooh, I don't know about this. No, yeah, you know what? I will agree with that, because at the beginning, it seems like it's going to be cool until I started, like, I kind of did it to annoy my dad, but I started calling out, like, what was going to happen next. And he was like, are you sure you haven't seen this? I was like, no, I haven't. But
I just know.
I already know the formula to this movie. And I told him how it ended, and that's exactly how it ended. And it was a big old waste of time. It was so dumb. Yeah. So, like, that's just the image I have of Russell Crowe in my head right now, is just angry, drunk, like rage-filled man.
From what I can remember, that movie, I don't even remember the name of it. Is it Road Rage?
God, what's it called?
I don't know.
I gotta look it up.
It came out like last year. I watched it.
It's like Anger or something.
Yeah. Fury? No, we've seen that.
That's the tank movie, and it's dope.
And it is dope.
If you're super lonely, and have no friends, toss on our watch Fury and toss on our commentary. We'll join
a live
with you.
commentary.
I think that's our first commentary track.
I think so. Anyways, what I remember the plot being, from just recalling seeing it once, is almost the exact beat for beat plot minus an ambulance from that Michael Bay movie that just came out called Ambulance, with the LA highlighted. Ambulance. It's terrible, but you could literally call out everything that was going to happen.
Unhinged.
That's the one.
2020's Unhinged. He's credited as Man.
Nice. Wow. Okay. Let's get our third tie-breaking predict in here. Who could wrap a present faster? Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, because he's got that manic energy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I bet he does give fantastic presents.
I bet he's got some cool ass wrapping paper too.
Right?
Whereas like Russell Crowe probably couldn't get through the process without having to stop and fight somebody.
I'll bet he's got like some coffee stained papyrus like wrapping paper that looks like the Declaration of Independence that's just like made for him. You know what I mean? Like he would do something wacky like that. I don't think Russell Crowe has wrapped a present since he became famous.
He's probably doesn't have the finger dexterity.
I was going to say
anymore
he's
either.
got giant sausage fingers too.
Well, sausage fingers, and then they've just punched so many faces that they're probably not good at doing small motor functions like that.
And he's just drunk all the time, so it's not going to come out good if you're drunk and wrapping presents.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about Russell Crowe's personal life, besides him like angrily drunk and fighting people, but your face doesn't get that. It's alcoholic swollen.
That is definitely alcohol.
That's alcohol
swollen.
Face.
Yep. I know that one well.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to take Nicolas Cage on over, right?
To Hannibal Lecter.
To Hannibal
Final round.
freaking Lecter.
Who's crazier? Let's find out.
And you better win because there's no timer.
Who has eaten more faces? Ooh, this is going to be tough.
Uh-oh. Who's most likely to successfully outrun Anton Chigurh from No Country for Old Men?
Ooh.
I think Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, I mean, he's
elusive.
For a very long, he's very elusive. He was outrunning the FBI, Interpol.
Which Nick Cage also did in, like, you know, some of his movies, I'm sure. When he was Chester Not copper
Copper
pot.
Pie. I can't hear the name Chester without thinking Chester Copper Pie. It's unfortunate.
No, I'm thinking about who he played in Face Off, and then in Gone in 60 Seconds, and then in like Con Air. So like he's like essentially the same character, obviously, but like
Yeah,
he
that's true.
can get away. But Hannibal Lecter just like slipped away. He didn't leave a path of destruction other than those dudes' bodies, but like. You know what I mean? Like Gone in 60 Seconds, he's got to like get away, but like car chase get away.
You know what? I would give it to Hannibal Lecter also because like Hannibal Lecter might just stop running and like hide behind a podium or something and then eat Anton Chigurh's face.
Dude, and
Might
I mean,
bite his fucking nose off.
I would put the body count up for both of them, and I would say they would stack up near the same. They're both malicious.
I wonder if this sugar fella has eaten any of his victims.
I mean, I'm fairly certain that Nicolas Cage.
Has
I'm
eaten
sorry.
some of his victims?
No. That Hannibal Lecter would take it on this one.
Yeah, I feel
100%.
like straight running, Nicolas Cage might have a heads up, but he might catch him eventually. You know what I mean? Nicolas Cage just he's gonna get distracted by some weird artifact that he wants to buy,
Yeah.
and like he's eventually it's gonna be his downfall. Where like Hannibal Lecter might end up killing Anton Chigurh.
Even though Nicolas Cage plays like a demented guy in some of his villain roles, he doesn't play like I'm gonna eat your face demented guy. He does play I'm gonna wear your face demented guy. He does not play I'm gonna eat your face though.
Yeah.
And I have to hand it to Hannibal Lecter. That's like my choice for sure.
Well, you won another one, Hannibal Lecter. Good
Sorry.
for you.
Sorry, Nick Cage. You know we love you. You are a channel sweetheart, but you know you'll get your day.
Yeah, I still love you, bud.
We'll get you. Who could steal the Declaration of Independence? That would have got you,
Damn. You know what movie I really want to talk about on the channel? Lord of War.
dude. Love that
It
movie.
would almost be we should think about doing it like soon because we just traded like the actual guy they based that movie on
Whoa.
for Brittany Griner.
Oh, Boot, Victor Boot.
yeah.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. He's the actual Lord of War that they based that movie on.
Insane.
So, Do it for the clicks,
I'm
you know?
down. Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
That's the episode, y'all. Just a quick reminder, like, share, subscribe. Thanks for all our new viewers. It was really cool watching those numbers get pumped up. Show a friend, you know what I mean? Just show them something. I don't know. Maybe they'll like it, maybe they won't.
yeah. Thanks for getting us out there. Be sure to check us out on Spotify. Give us a review of some sort, whatever stars you
Whatever
want.
you deem fit.
Give us some comments on this video. What do you hate about our opinions? What do you like about our opinions? Why is
Did you, for some reason, watch The Empty Man? Have you ever seen New Police Story?
Why did you watch New Police Story? Where did you find it? Let us all know. Yeah.
Merry Christmas, y'all.
Merry Christmas.
Make sure to tune in next week for the character limit exceeded for Violent Night.
Oh,
Pretty
yeah.
excited to watch that.
Yeah. I'm excited.
Yeah. See you soon.